Hello, welcome. I'm so excited to speak about this topic because obviously the skin, our face, is how we meet the outer world. Skin health is such a contrived topic, I think. Your skin is an absolute reflection of what is happening on the inside, and we have so much control over it. But I guess I really want to start with that our eyes, our expression, the color, the texture, lines, our movement, our skin is constantly reflecting our lived experience. And also we spend as women our entire lives looking at our faces and pulling apart our faces and always being told there is fault in them, and that is projected onto us. You know, a line appears, a blemish appears, a little pigmentation or different texture or pimple. Our face changes as our age, of course. What a gift that we are able to age. And instead of asking, what is it telling me, we immediately try to suppress it, get rid of it, and become at war with it. So our skin is a conversation. It gives us information. That's what I really want you to take away at the end of this conversation. Sometimes the answer is there's nothing wrong. Your skin is just skin, right? And so it shows how you've been sleeping. You know, when you've had lack of sleep, that like your face does not look good. It looks tired. It shows you have dark circles. It looks a little bit dull and sallow. It shows when you're stressed. And when we're stressed, maybe we can get some more pimples. It's showing you, are you eating well? Have you nourished yourself? Has it received the right nutrients? You know, if you're eating ultra-processed foods or like having more sugar or things like fatty foods, it shows on your face. You know, if you've had something that has irritated your system or you're not really great with fried foods or spicy foods, you might get a flushing or like a hives reaction. It's information. How has your hormonal landscape changed, right? When we're going through our period, or maybe around the luteal phase or premenstrual phase, we could get that hormonal acne along our jawline. What happens when we're aging and going into perimenopause? Our collagen becomes depleted because we have estrogen receptors in our skin. And as we're going through those hormonal fluctuations, estrogen declines. That's information. Have you been in the sun? How has your environment changed? Do you live in a city? Is there more pollution where you are? Are your pores more clogged up because of the pollution? Are you not sweating enough? So again, there's more inflammation. Or are you not working your lymph? So you're getting these jowls or inflammation or fat around here. That's from like lack of movement. Or are you simply getting older? And that is so wonderful. So your face is this living record. It shows time, collagen changes, lines, texture. It shows your emotions. If you smile a lot, if you frown more in between when you're stressed. Are you concentration? Do you have those 11 lines? Have you held grief? What about when we're going through grief? You can see that on somebody's face. You want to be able to see that on somebody's face. You want to see the aliveness in someone's face, and we have that from our muscles and our expression. Not to neutralize those lines is important. And it shows what's happening with our sebum production. If you're somebody that has more, are you somebody that suffered PMOS or acne around your menstruation? And that can be indicative that you have more androgens in your system and that you really need to follow more of a metabolic diet or food choices, so less glucose in your system. That can also show that maybe, you know, there has been studies that people that have more acne have these genetic SNPs where they can't digest as much dairy. So that can be indicative of that. Is there hydration in your system? Is there hydration in your face? The environment shows your interaction with sun, pollution, temperature and humidity. Are you somebody that in this summer, as the temperature goes up, that you're more flush and maybe more have this histamine picture going on too, where you get a little bit itchy or hives or rashes? What is that showing? What sensitivities do you have because you're not able to make certain enzymes to break down that excess histamine? And it shows your lifestyle. Are you sleeping? Are you eating the right food for your body? Are you drinking too much alcohol? Are you smoking? Are you moving? All of this shows. And are you stressed? It's all there, right? And then it shows you we can do something about it. And then your biology, right? It's like, how does your genetics impact your skin? What about your immune activity? Do you have more inflammation in your body? Is there an autoimmune picture going on? That shows in your face. What about your eyes? What is your microbiome doing? Because our microbiome is on our skin. And what's happening as you age? How are you aging? Are you aging too soon for your biological age? The face becomes this extraordinary intersection of the inside out. And what do we actually mean when we say someone is beautiful? Is it symmetry? Is it clear skin? Is it youth? Is it perfect proportions? Or is it something harder to quantify? Is it presence, expression, vitality, warmth, aliveness? The way someone's eyes light up when they're talking about something that they love, the way a face changes when it laughs, the way a face changes when it loves. But that is beauty too, and perhaps the beauty worth protecting, rather than endlessly trying to preserve the version of our faces from when we were 20s, 32, 38, and so forth. And so we are constantly encouraged to treat aging as a problem, something to treat, something to solve. Anti-aging, correction, rejuvenation, lightening, tightening, erasing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting and enjoying feeling good in your skin. Caring for yourself and caring for your beauty is self-respect. It's self-care. I love it, right? I'm a Leo times 4. I have ego. But there's a difference between caring for something and being at war for something and doing something out of fear and doing something beyond your choice, right? And what are you trying to protect? What are you trying to do? Why are you doing the things to your skin, prodding them? So that's enough for my philosophy. Now I'm going to teach you what to do, and I'm going to teach you about the 4 foundations for your skin. So your skin is a living organ, and it responds to your hormones, your immune system, your nervous system, and your microbiome. Your microbiome, your nutrition, your environment, your sleep, and your age. So rather than, as I said, what's wrong with me, let's get curious about what's happening here. So your gut, the conversation with your gut is, what are you digesting, absorbing, and metabolizing? With your hormones, what biological season are you in? Are you in your 20s where you've, getting into your menstrual rhythm, you're focusing more on your adrenals, your cortisol, we really have to protect that. Then if you're going into your 30s, things like we have to really protect our thyroid, and then our 40s, these hormonal fluctuations as we prepare for going into menopause. And your nervous system, are you constantly switched on, or are you getting enough recovery, right? Recovery is so important for skin health, for hormones, for women. Your environment and your lifestyle. What are you asking your body to adapt to every day? What are you lathering on your skin? What, including your clothes, what is the quality of products that you're putting on your skin that your skin is absorbing? Because we know that our skin is a living organ, right? It is the physical barrier that protects us from the internal world, protects our organs into the outer world. And we know that it has its own nervous system. It has all of our nerve endings. It has its own endocrine system, and it has its own microbial systems. So the skin microbiome is now understood as an active ecosystem, and it's involved in barrier function, immune regulation, and protecting from pathogens. So what that means is that, as I said, anything that you put on your skin is food for your microbiome. So if we're putting acids and all of these harsh chemicals on our skin, what is that doing to our microbiome? Sure, it might look good for a couple of days, for a week, but then what is that doing for the long term and causing weakness? So one of my favorite things to do, it's Abhyanga oil massage. My skin has changed so much since I've been doing this practically every day since November. You get organic sesame oil, not twisted, and you put it on first thing in the morning. As soon as you wake up, you warm. Start at the base of your feet, because that's where all your nerve endings are. Massage your legs, your thighs, your stomach, all the way up to your body. You can put it on your face too and do your face massage, but make sure that you wash it off, because some people got a little bit of a breakout from that. So just listen to yourself and your body. You leave that on for at least 30 minutes. You can do your workout, because then you're sweating and then pulling out everything. Then from there, if you are in the UK or Europe, our water is incredibly harsh, right? And it has a lot of chemicals and things which strip firstly the microbiome, and it's just not good for your skin too. So what does that oil do? It creates this lipid bilayer to protect your skin from the harsh water coming onto your skin. It's also, first thing in the morning, if you put it on your skin, it's incredibly grounding. You have your nervous system receptors there, so it's like food for your skin. So if you're not ready to eat yet, that gives you a little bit of nourishment so you can do some movement, etc. From there, we have a glass of hot water with ginger, because that will activate our digestive fire. We need our digestive fire to be able to absorb and assimilate our nutrients. If we're just eating food directly and haven't activated our digestive fire, are we able to actually pull apart all of the nutrients that then go and do their work and build up our cells and tissues, right? So that's the biggest thing that you can do for your skin. Do it right now. Also, if you are going into perimenopause, sesame oil is pure vitamin E, so that is highly nutritive to your skin tissues, to healing your skin tissues, and it's also rich in progesterone and estrogen, so that is like HRT. It's amazing, and build it into your practice every day. You'll notice some great benefits. Foundation number 1 is that gut, right? Well, first of all, it's the layer of your skin, and then it's gut. The communication is bidirectional between your gut and your skin, so it's not simply good bacteria, bad bacteria. It involves your immune signaling, it's your inflammatory pathways. Your microbiome produce all of these metabolites. So depending whatever it's eaten, if it's eating like a lot of like high fructose corn syrup or like packaged foods, what is it going to be like making, right? It also produces and protects your intestinal barrier function, right? And if your intestinal barrier function has any inflammation or harmed in any way from stress, your environment, even what you're thinking, what you're putting on your skin, eating a certain way, it's slowly going to erode it. And when it erodes it, that creates particles can come through, and that's when those particles comes through that starts to show up on our skin. So your gut bacteria produce what's called short-chain fatty acids, which ferment from fibers that you eat that then influence your epithelial biology, that's your skin biology, through your immune system, because there's layers and there's glands, and in your lymph system it's all connected, all happening in your tissue. So when we're talking about integrative health, when we're talking about our skin, when we're talking about everything, every organ and cell is communicating everywhere, through our bloodstream, through our cells, through everything, through our nervous system. So the question when it comes to gut health is, what is feeding my ecosystem? It's the diversity. It's what is your dietary diversity, right? So we say that eating seasonal is so important, because what happens when we eat seasonal, the food and produce is able to get more sunlight, produce more nutrients, like is richer in color, it's tasty. Why is it tasty? Because it's able to build all of these nutrients. So the best thing to do is just eat whatever variety is local. So going to your farmer's market or getting a river food box is really great. And a lot of the time they'll give you different varieties of the same vegetable. So for example, 3 different varieties of apples have 3 different compositions of microbiome, which will help every different layer of your gut bacteria. We want to be having at least 30 different foods a week, so that includes different spices, different apple varieties, trying different vegetables, trying different leaves, like really get curious. And all of the colors in foods give the foods a different quality, a different antioxidant, a different mood supporting your system. Fiber is so important because fiber feeds our bacteria. So, if we're taking some probiotics, that's just a small drop in the ocean, right? We need to build our own bacteria, and we do that by having fiber. And things like starches, so cooled potatoes, cooled rices, eat like your soluble fibers, so your chia seeds, lots of roughage, lots of vegetables. I love baobab, is really nice. It's high in vitamin C, so that's great for supporting your collagen integrity. When we're taking collagen, we need to take vitamin C with it. Everything in nature works synergistically. So having these colorful plants, having these colors are really important because all of the colors support and treat your system in different ways. For example, like these red colors, watermelons and tomatoes, cooked tomatoes. If you start having that at the beginning of the summer, that's able to protect your skin from UV by 40%, the studies are showing. What's local and thrives and grows in the summer? Tomato and watermelons. Nature really shows us the food and the nutrients that we need to take to protect our organism and make it thrive. The proteins is really important, so particularly with women. What happens is if we're eating too much, having too much carbohydrates or too much glucose, we just need to have it with the protein. So that helps balance it out. So we don't have these big sugar highs and sugar rushes, because then when we're a little bit stressed, and every time we're stressed, our cortisol goes up. And if we don't use cortisol, we store cortisol and we store it around the middle. So what does that mean? Using cortisol, if you look at nature, if you look at animals, what do they do after because we are still animals, our biology still operates the same. That's why we're in this problem where we're having we've advanced so much, but we still are our own biology. So what does nature, what do animals, what do bears do when they've gotten in some type of altercation? They shake it off. And so our cortisol rises straight in the morning too. So we need to either, do a couple of squats. They say just 10 squats every hour. So these little movement snacks are really good to build our muscle, build our endocrine system, and use our cortisol. So for example, if you've had a stressful call or you receive an email where you're in shock, that's your cortisol rising. So as soon as your cortisol has risen, you need to do some movement, whether that's going for a walk around or doing these squats or just doing some breath work. Then we can really recalibrate our cortisol. That's really important for our skin. Ensuring that we have essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids are essential for a reason. We do need those omega-3 fats, and they are usually fish sources. So if you are vegan or don't enjoy taking fish, that's okay. You can have algae varieties, chia seeds, flax seeds. Flax seeds are so important, particularly for women at all times during your cycle. The follicular stage, so day 1 to day 14 of your cycle, is really important to prepare your body for ovulation. Otherwise, also when you're going into your hormonal fluctuations around perimenopause, menopause, we need that flaxseed as well to then cleave and protect the estrogen in our body. So a tablespoon of flaxseed, ground flaxseed, is really great, and it has those fats too. Beautiful for your skin. And all of these micronutrients, so your magnesium, your zinc. Our zinc isn't really in our soil anymore, so it's so important to get that because it's on all of our taste receptors. It's so important for men, for sperm quality, and for our skin and for our immune system. So best sources is pumpkin seeds. I love pumpkin seed butter. It's really lovely. You can put into salads, your breakfast. And also pumpkin seed oil is so wonderful. In Eastern European, it's really popular. It's beautiful. Or otherwise oysters. So, go on an oyster date. You really get a high doses of zinc there. And it's also in certain meats too, but usually only farm-grown organic meat, not in supermarket meat. Nutritional quality in animal proteins in the supermarket is incredibly low. And so what's your bowel irregularity, right? Every time you eat a big meal, you should be pooping. And if you're not, what's happening? And that's just fermenting in your system, right? We need to be constantly eliminating. We eliminate through our sweat, we eliminate through our monthly menstruation, we eliminate through our stools and urine. So next, what shows up on our skin is our hormones. Happens every cycle, how you've been living your cycle. But then what does estrogen do? Why does our skin change as we're going through our late 30s into our 40s? Because estrogen influences collagen. It influences our skin thickness. It influences how much hydration is inside of our tissues. It also influences wound healing. It influences the skin barrier. So that's why we really want to prolong our ovarian longevity as long as possible, because our ovaries aren't just for reproduction. They're for protecting every single part of our body, our skin health, our brain health. We have estrogen receptors in our brain. That's why brain fog is influenced. We have estrogen receptors in our skin, in our bones. Why are we losing our bones. We have estrogen receptors in our gut. We have estrogen receptors in our vaginal microbiome. That's why we get maybe more UTIs and things like that. So it's really important to be doing all of these practices to preserve that estrogen as long as possible. So instead of saying, okay, my hormones are out of balance, ask what is influencing hormonal signaling. Is it your insulin? So is your cortisol and insulin going up because you're just eating more carbohydrates and not balancing your meals with the protein that we really need, particularly as we go into our 30s? The first 90 days of waking are the most crucial for women because that's when our cortisol is at our highest. So if we're just like kind of waking up, rushing out of the house and having a coffee, that is going to cause major insulin irregularity over the course of the day, and we're going to be stressed and everything's going to show on our face. So wake up, do your skin massage, have your warm water, do a little bit of movement, have some protein with your coffee, or have at least a small snack. So that's why like eggs are really good, yogurt with berries are really great, or even like if you can't do that, having like some collagen powder in your coffee in the morning is really important. How is your stress? Stress, I'm really sorry, it impacts every single system in our body. And so many women, when I say, okay, I think we need to reduce the stress, I'm not stressed. Right? We've completely raised the bar of what that is. And so anytime you have this reaction, anytime that you're not breathing into your belly, your body, your biology is in a state of stress, whether you're going to ignore that fact or not. And anytime that you are dissatisfied, your biology is in a state of stress. So we really need to take it seriously. No, you cannot hack or supplement your way out of it, unfortunately, and it shows. I see too many sick women in my office when they should have, because they ignored these signals. So I'm really quite strict and stern about taking responsibility for your boundaries and what you need to do to reduce your stress load. And it's totally possible we can have the most desirable, incredible life of our dreams, but we need to put systems in place. Yeah, so what is your period like each month? Our period is a vital sign. It's showing us what is the color of our blood. Is it more brown? There must be more stagnation there. Or is it light pink, so there's not enough progesterone? Are there any clots? You need to support your bioelimination. You need to have more liver supporting foods. Maybe you're not sweating enough. Is there pain? If there's pain, why is your androgens up? Why is your inflammation up? Also thyroid function. We know that it's so common for women to get autoimmune conditions, particularly usually after they've had a baby, so been through intense stress, and it was probably always there, or they might have had an overreactive immune system or condition, and that was what put them over the edge. So we always need, that's why we need our zinc, we need our protein, and we need our iodine, so our selenium, so our minerals, our Brazil nuts, our seaweeds to protect our thyroid. And what is autoimmune condition? It's our body is attacking itself. So there's a lot of psychological things going on there, like what are you suppressing, what are you not sharing. Thyroid health is really important in these 30s picture if you are not addressing your stress and your boundaries. What medications are you on? Have you been on the oral contraceptive pill for a long time? That might trigger pigmentation in your skin too. What are the environmental exposures? What do you need to change in your house? Is there too much like dust in your house? Or what is the light? How have you turned on? Are you getting enough melatonin? Because melatonin, our circadian rhythm, triggers and supports the healing of our hormones. It supports our immune system, and it's also what helps produce glutathione, which is like our master antioxidant, which depreciates with age. But maybe that's because we're not getting enough sleep, right? We're not activating that melatonin. The third one is stress. I've kind of spoken a lot about it here, and it's in your document, in your notes, so ways to support stress. But that's, again, ways to support stress is through nutrients. It's through your nervous system. So I know it's not sexy when we talk about stress, because sure, you can have adaptogens, so herbs, which are really helpful for you, that helped you adapt to stress. You can have things like passion flora is one of my favorite. Magnesium Magnesium glycinate is really important. There's lots of magnesium varieties. The glycinate is the best one. We can have these nutrients, but again, it's really down to our nervous system. So what activates our nervous system? Not shallow breathing. We're getting more stress. We have to breathe into our bellies. We have to activate our diaphragm. We have to give nutrients and aliveness to our tissues, right? Because otherwise, constriction, they're not getting enough, your tissues are not getting enough hydration, then they're atrophying, and then your body can't connect with everything and you can't absorb and receive all of the nutrients through your blood flow, right? If we don't use our body, if we don't use our vitality, we lose it. Stress also impacts our wound healing time. Have you ever had a week where you've eaten all the right things, you've taken all the right supplements, but you're stressed, right? Like you can't do anything. It impacts so much. You can email me if you're looking at ways to support your stress response too. Blood glucose is really important, which we've spoken about. So the protein, it influences acne, it influences cell signaling. When we get into our late 30s into 40s, unfortunately, our insulin signaling is a lot more sensitive. That's why, you used to be able to eat so much, maybe when you're a little bit younger, but you're not changing anything or not even eating and you're putting on weight. So this is relating to our cells becoming a little bit more sensitive. So eating late at night, unfortunately, isn't great. But if you have just a smaller meal and just protein and lower the carbohydrates in the evening is the best way around this one. Because what happens is excess glucose can react with protein to form what's called advanced glycation end products, which basically means it creates oxidative stress, skin aging, and kind of distorts your collagen molecules. So we don't want too much sugar if we're really supporting our skin health. Okay, so what have we covered? Say it with me. We've covered the foundation of our digestion, which is our gut ecosystem. It's our bowel regularity, it's our fiber, it's our food diversity. So the takeaway is just add more plant diversity rather than chasing one superfood. Second, women's superfoods, we need to nourish. We need protein, we need our omega-3s, we need vitamin C, so all of our berries, baobab, antioxidants, orange foods is really lovely. We need our zinc, so our oysters and our pumpkin seeds and our nuts and seeds. We need our polyphenols, so like the tomatoes, all of those beautiful berries, lots of red, orange, purple foods, our beetroots. Color equates to adequate energy, and we need to eat enough. So we need to build our meals around proteins, plants, and healthy fats. And plants are carbohydrates, fruits are carbohydrates. So we're not missing any of our nutrients. Regulate stress through our breathing, our nervous system. Doing less is actually doing more, right? Blood glucose, supporting our blood glucose and supporting our hormonal rhythm, supporting our monthly cycle, listening to the feedback that our monthly cycle is giving us. If we're getting bloating before our period, if we're getting breast tenderness, this is information. We shouldn't be getting those. We shouldn't be having that. Your period should just arrive, and you know it's arriving because it's like day 28, 27, whenever you get your period. So really create a ritual or pause around eating, eat sitting down, and just have a few slow breaths before eating. Coming into heart coherence breath. It's all you need to do. Coming into your heart, breathing out of your heart as if it were in your lungs. Breathing in for 5. Hold for a second and then breathe out for 5. But coming into this place instead of your mind, because then we draw attention to our thoughts. Okay? Just try that heart coherence breath. You will change your biology. It's amazing. I'll do another talk on it so you can incorporate it in your daily life. It's just a few breaths. That's all you need. And finally, protect your skin, right? Our sun, the UV protection, visible light. We know UV, we know light from our devices has been shown to also produce the same damage to our skin. So you kind of do need to wear a sunscreen when you're on your computer. Pollution, protecting that skin barrier, and appropriate skincare for yourself, not too many harsh chemicals. Don't destroy the skin barrier by chasing perfect skin, because in the long term, it doesn't work out. We don't get away with anything free in this life, right? Photo protection means one of the most evidence-based practices for photo aging and your pigmentation. So that is my skin foundations and rituals. I could speak on and on and on about this, but you have your guidelines there. Again, message me if you need anything else. You have your fascia flossing, you have your no tox practice, you have the practices to rejuvenate and change your tissues. You have so much here. So it's been a pleasure guiding you with all of this information, and please email me with any questions that you need more support in. Thanks again.